Hi everybody and welcome to Different Leaf, a show for new and experienced cannabis consumers. I'm Brit Smith. From infused chocolate bars to CBD-laden dripping sauces for desserts, you can even get high-end THC chocolate ganache with little bits of gold leaf sprinkled on top. If you're a fellow chocolate lover / cannabis fan, you know that the sheer numbers of infused chocolate choices on the legal market can get a little overwhelming. I mean, I literally want to buy all of it and then eat all of it at once, and I'm sure I'm not alone. Some of it has THC, some of it has CBD or Delta 8, and I've actually seen a lot of chocolate candies lately that have added melatonin to help you sleep. Now, having all those options might seem like you're a kid in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory at first, but it also means that we get to be picky about what kind of chocolates we want to try, what it makes us feel like, who makes it, and even how it's made. So this episode, we're going to dive into the new trend of cannabis chocolates that are healthier for both the consumer and the planet. Our guest today is Massachusetts' own holistic nutritionist and plant-based chef, Kyleen Keenan, founder of byky edibles. Kyleen is the creator behind 4 different marijuana-infused chocolate bonbons, all of which are paleo and vegan, and are packed full of plant ingredients brimming with health benefits, all of which are made in a sustainable way. Inside her byky chocolate bonbons, you'll find several plant ingredients besides cannabis that have been carefully selected for their healing properties. To start, there's the regeneratively grown organic raw cacao, which is packed full of antioxidants and magnesium, the coconut nectar rich in potassium, zinc, and iron, and the ashwagandha, which relieves stress and lowers blood sugar. Not to mention, each bonbon includes nut butters, which are beneficial for blood pressure, controlling cholesterol, and helping bone health. And there are adaptogens like lion's mane mushrooms, which are shown to support the immune system and improve brain health. And of course, each bonbon is also infused with CO2-extracted cannabis, with all its anti-inflammatory properties and its lovely hazy side effects of a deep and relaxing body high. On top of all of those healthy ingredients, only cannabis grown using solar power gets to be infused into byky bonbons, because Kyleen has partnered with Solar Cannabis Company in Somerset, Massachusetts, the first energy-independent grow facility in the US. We'll be back after this quick break to chat with Kyleen Keenan about the new trend of healthier, sustainable cannabis chocolates. So I was excited to hear that there is sort of a sustainable chocolate option out there that is actually some sort of healthy for me. I'm a big chocolate fan. I'm the kind of kid that, when I was young, I used to try and steal candy from the candy tin that my mom would hide away. I've really got a sweet tooth. So very excited to hear that there was also a vegan and paleo infused option out there on the Massachusetts market. Tell me about your history. What got you into cooking? How did you become a plant chef?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm also a chocolate lover and have always been into sweets my whole life. And that started my journey is that I was the typical grad from college, just eating a ton of sugar, caffeinating. And I just got to the point where I really was at a point in my life where I wasn't healthy. I wasn't feeling good. And so I had landed on Martha's Vineyard and I had a roommate who was a holistic nutritionist and she was actually making raw chocolate. So she really introduced me to holistic living, to eating superfoods. She introduced me to raw cacao, which is what I make my chocolate from. And I tell everyone that raw chocolate was my gateway drug to healthy living because I was like, wow, if this is healthy, I can do this.
Yeah.
And that kind of started my whole journey. And her and I ended up going into business together. We started a chocolate company on Martha's Vineyard when I was just out of college. And that lasted it's still alive today. So it's been since 2011.
So what's your connection to cannabis? What made you move from the confectionery world into the infused confectionery world?
So a few years ago, I was on the vineyard and the company that was starting there actually contacted me about edibles. And so I started making edibles at that point, but had always really had an interest in cannabis. I used it on a very small scale. I wasn't a social smoker. I was a new mom. I wasn't sure exactly how cannabis fit into my life. So when I did smoke, it was upstairs in the bathroom when my kid was downstairs,
Right.
that kind of not openly consuming cannabis. And then when it became legal, I really had to question, is this part of a holistic lifestyle, and really question what those boundaries were for me. So then I started tinkering around with making gummies, with making chocolate, and experimenting with different types of cannabis from full spectrum to CO2 extracted through butane, through ethanol, and just really feeling into what made me feel really good and felt like a holistic experience.
Mm.
And that started really pairing chocolate, which is a superfood, and cannabis.
Awesome to be able to mix your love of healthy eating with your love of other plant foods and medicine from marijuana too. So I was always told that like food is medicine if you are careful about what you eat. Like, always eat your vegetables and stay clear of sugar, which I did not do. But as a kid, I was always, steered away from chocolate and cannabis for that matter. And now it looks like I can indulge in both, which is really nice. And together they actually could help improve my health. So let's talk about how it works. I know that cannabis works in our bodies by connecting to this meta system, which sort of controls all the other bodily functional systems, called the endocannabinoid system. But I don't actually know why chocolate is healthy for us, or if it is at all. It just sort of sounded good, so I believed it. But I know it makes me happy to eat chocolate. I always assumed that was the mixture of sugar and fat and not the cacao. But you're saying that actually cacao as a plant is very good for us. How does it work inside our bodies?
Cacao, it also works with the endocannabinoid system because in the receptors in a very similar way, which is
Mm.
why cacao and cacao butter is a great catalyst for cannabis because cannabis is fat soluble. So you'll notice when you have a gummy, it gets into your body faster and kind of leaves faster. Whereas when you have it with a fat soluble, especially cacao butter, you're going to receive about 60% more of the medicinal benefits than you would if it was infused in sugar. Cacao itself is the highest antioxidant food on the planet known to mankind.
I thought that was blueberry.
No, chocolate is like 40 times the amount of blueberries per 100 grams. So
Wow.
that's actually measured by something called the oxygen radical absorption capacity, ORAC chart. And so that measures a food's ability to bond to free radicals and pull them out of the body. And free radicals are what
Mm.
causes, chronic disease and aging and all of that. But most chocolate, 99% of chocolate is roasted. So when you roast it, the phytonutrients and enzymes are not available. The delicate polyphenols and all of those things aren't available. And most chocolate is highly processed. It's Dutched, which is just another processing step. It's combined with dairy. Any kind of milk
Mm.
fat consumed with any antioxidant will not allow the body to absorb the antioxidant. So, like blueberries with milk, for example, you don't receive the antioxidants because dairy blocks the absorption of antioxidants.
Well, so like milk chocolate would block the uptake of any antioxidants from the chocolate?
Exactly.
Oh, wow. So is that why you chose dark chocolate for the bonbons?
Yes. And all of ours is raw. So we are in that 1% of chocolate on the market today that is raw. So it's unroasted, which means we buy a really, really high quality base chocolate. We get that right from Peru. I actually met the farmers. It's in the Satipo region of Peru. And we create the base ourselves, which is with coconut palm sugar. So we don't use any refined sugar.
Oh my gosh, so there's a way that chocolate can be healthy for me?
Yeah.
And so there's other ingredients in this as well that also tend to be sort of thought of as medicinal. There's certain mushrooms in these little chocolate bonbons, and that sort of caught me off guard. Like, I met you the other day in person at a festival, and you handed me a couple of these boxes, and I was looking at the ingredients on it, and it said like different kinds of mushrooms. Like, what is the nutritional reason for adding all of these extra things into the candy?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, mushrooms are an adaptogen, and a lot of the ingredients I use in there are adaptogen. And that's basically a term used for these herbs and plants and seeds and things that have been identified around the world across multiple different ancient medicinal traditions like Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, that have been identified as a cure all. And so, what these adaptogens do is they go into our body and balance out different things. They don't just have one effect, but they apply to many different effects. So, they're very holistic and they're also super gentle. So, you may never notice what taking mushrooms does to your immune system and how you feel. But if you do like a heavy dose of mushrooms, like not the psychoactive kind, I'm talking about like reishi and cordyceps and lion's mane. All of these have amazing benefits that are certainly coming to the market now and people are starting to understand. But these plants really help build our resilience to stress, which is why I tell everyone like we just all need to eat more adaptogens because like stress isn't getting any less, it seems like in the world today.
So you found a way to put this into candy. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. If you can cover it in chocolate, then I feel like it's a win-win.
Yeah. So let's talk about the sustainability side of this. Why did you want to partner with Solar in particular? What is it that Solar is doing that's sustainability focused in the cannabis space?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I even got into the cannabis space is because Solar is dedicated to building a sustainable cannabis company. Everything from striving for excellence with our packaging to being completely off the grid. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but about 10% of energy produced in the state of Massachusetts goes to cannabis cultivation and
Mhm.
cannabis companies.
Wow.
So it's really pulling from the grid. Solar is 100% off the grid, and we use natural gas and solar panels to produce all of our energy. So we're not pulling from the grid and we're producing our own sustainable energy. And we have a ton of initiatives that are coming out soon, including using a battery and having plugins for electric vehicles, just being in true alignment with a sustainable future. And we believe cannabis is a plant based medicine, it's a plant based alternative to pharmaceuticals. And so I think that that movement is saying, hey, let's get closer to plant our roots, let's
Mhm.
get closer to the earth, and let's try to make things a little bit more sustainable. And Solar as a company is the one that is doing that through and through.
Do you think that there's future with edibles and sustainably grown cannabis? Is this sort of what folks are leaning towards? I know that I like to choose products that come from companies that care about sustainability, the climate crisis, and I like to pick like women founded companies. Like I'm a very conscious consumer when it comes to cannabis. Do you think that there's that sort of space for the edibles industries in general to move towards that sustainability focused model?
Yeah, I would like to hope so for sure. And I think that women cannabis users are entering the market. We're definitely not the majority of the market. I mean, would you agree? It's
Yeah,
probably
not at
not.
all women focused yet. Yeah.
Right. And honestly, before I started this brand, there wasn't any product on the market that I wanted to consume because it was filled with junk. It was filled with as many chemicals as the pharmaceutical industry and still is. I mean, most of the edibles or drops or pills or whatever out there really have a lot of really gnarly ingredients.
Mm.
And so I feel like especially conscious consumers like yourself are looking for those brands and looking for those products that are in alignment with the way that they eat, with the way that they want to medicate. That's why everything we do is low dose. I mean, that's what the state of Massachusetts requires is the 5 milligrams, but really educating the consumer about that. I hope that there is room for that in the mass market and other markets. I do see that in the natural organic channel. A lot of people are using more adaptogens, superfoods, supplements to really help improve their immunity, especially after COVID. And
Mhm.
has a lot of those factors, not only THC, but CBD and CBN and CBG for a variety of chronic illnesses, a variety of immune boosting power. Mushrooms are actually an immune modulator. So what's so amazing about mushrooms and why I use them so frequently is because we share 50% of our DNA with them. So we have a lot in common with mushrooms. They actually go into our immune system and help elevate it. They're not an immune suppressant or an immune stimulator or a stimulant. So basically, what that means is that mushrooms can really help our immune system in a new way. And I think same with cannabis. And we're starting to just scratch the surface on evidence based research on that.
Yeah, there's a lot still to learn about. When you guys actually are making the products, everything's done at Solar inside the production
Manufacturing room,
yeah,
kitchen.
facility. So there's a kitchen there. What's the process of it like to actually make these bonbons? How many people does it take? How long does it take to make a pack of them?
So we start with our fillings. So we make all of our fillings in house. So I make all of the chocolate. So the chocolate, we start literally with the base product from Peru and we melange that and we make it into chocolate. And I do that.
You melange it?
melange it, or you refine it. So you take the cacao liquor. So basically cacao is a seed. It's a seed of a fruit pod,
Mm.
and they dehydrate the seeds and then they mix them basically, and you get a liquor or a paste, a cacao paste, and then you add the coconut palm sugar and you blend that until it's nice and smooth and creamy. That I have made my other company in the organic natural channel that makes the base. So we buy everything regeneratively grown. So that helps the climate in the way of it's not just organic, it creates, covers the ground and uses different trees and things like that to like crop rotation, things like that to really work with nature and pull carbon out of the atmosphere so we can actually regenerate the planet and reverse climate change.
Mm.
So the cacao and the coconut palm sugar are both grown regeneratively and we get that base. And then the fillings are made at Solar. And so there we start out with almonds and hazelnuts and coffee beans and really pure whole ingredients. And we put that in a stone grinder, a melanger, for 12 to 16 hours to make it super creamy.
Mm.
So it grinds first, then it's a paste, and then it gets super, super, super creamy. And we add different elements at different parts. So we start with like the nuts and the sugar, or the nuts and the coconut palm sugar. And then we add in, the coconut milk powder, which makes it super creamy. And then at the very end, we take that creamy, creamy mixture, we infuse cacao butter with the cannabis, and then we add all the mushrooms and the adaptogens, the botanicals, and we mix it. And then we get that at the same temperature as the tempered chocolate. We put it into what's called a one shot depositor or a chocolate machine, and it deposits the bonbons and doses them perfectly every single time.
Wow. Okay. I was going to ask how you dose them. So you have
Yep.
like mass batches of this stuff, but the cannabis is added in. Is it a tincture? Is it CO2 extracted? What did you go with?
Is CO2 extracted cannabis oil.
So why did
Mhm.
you choose that option? Was it for the taste?
It was partially for the taste, and CO2 is off gas by the plant naturally, so it's not one of those additives like ethanol or butane that really, no matter what, like, I don't want any trace minerals of that in my products, and so CO2 was a definite for me that I wanted CO2 extraction. It also preserves a lot of those phytonutrients like we were talking about with the chocolate. It preserves that in the cannabis oil as well, so you do get a small amount of terpenes and just like things are more well preserved in CO2 extraction, in my opinion.
Mm. Well, I couldn't taste any sort of weedy taste to it, which was really nice because I think with a lot of edibles, you do sort of get that earthy flavor to it when it just reminds you that there is some cannabis in here and you can slightly taste a bit of bud. Or I don't really know what the extraction methods were, but I know that when I was cooking at home as a teenager, it's because I literally threw my bud into the cake batter. Right.
To the cake.
Yeah, well, now we've got to the point that we can get cannabis, tiny little bonbon sweets, and you wouldn't even really know by flavor, at least, that they're infused because I couldn't really taste it. And I guess that's because of that clean extraction method that really, I don't know, gets rid of the plant flavor of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. I can't explain it well, but I feel exactly the same way. And what that does too is it makes it a cleaner product and healthier product over time. Because if you do have something with a lot of plant matter in it, it may go rancid, which obviously isn't good either. And so it's really making sure that we're getting everybody a clean and healthy product through and through, whether they buy it within a month or within 3 months, it's going to be a clean, stable product.
Hmm. The taste of them is incredible. It's like they're so luxurious and soft and silky. And I tried one about half an hour ago, and I tried the hazelnut espresso bonbon, and I'm feeling like I'm ready to clean my house. Like I've got a lot of energy. It's probably the espresso which is adding to it, but I don't know if folks get high from 5 milligrams. I have an incredible tolerance. I don't think that I've ever gotten high on anything less than like 75, maybe even 100
Oh,
milligrams. Yeah, so I knew that I wouldn't feel any kind of highness from it, but I'm definitely feeling like really pumped up and really energetic from it. So even if you're not somebody that feels edibles very strongly, I think you can still feel something from these because of those added ingredients.
Yeah, totally. I feel that way with just chocolate, especially with chocolate and mushrooms and cannabis all combined. I think that even the nuances have an effect on how we feel and how focused we can get. And especially the hazelnut is my favorite for focus, like for energy, anything like midday, got to get a project done, got to clean the house. For me, I definitely have ADHD, like where my mind is all over the place. So, like, it helps me focus a ton. So, I'm glad you like the taste and that you're enjoying.
I loved it. And also there's a mint ganache, which is a 1-to-1 CBD to THC. And I really like that balanced feel because I think that that's a nice way to end your day. And that might be like a nice after dinner chocolate that you'd have to sort of wind down. I know that I really love to bake, and I've heard that there may be some little chocolate drops that I might be able to bake with in the future.
Yes, we are so, so, so excited about that. They'll probably be launching in like the next 3 to 4 weeks, and they're going to be our snacking and baking morsels. So they're this great, unique shape. It's kind of like a half of a bonbon, and they'll be 2.5 milligrams each. And so you get 100 milligrams in a bag, and it's about a cup. So it really swaps easily with any kind of chocolate chip cookie recipe. And we've done like a little contest here where everybody's baked something with them, like a banana bread, a chocolate chip cookie, like a traditional chocolate chip, a paleo, a vegan, like all of those. And everybody seems to be happy with how they bake. So, yeah, that'll be our next one with the 2.5 milligrams of THC. And then maybe if that goes well, we'll do a 1-to-1 as well.
Nice. I'd eat the whole bag, to be honest. I'd just
Yeah,
like sit there and eat them.
exactly. The snacking chip where you can just like, I mean, I eat a ton of chocolate. People
Yeah.
are always like, how much? I'm like, I know, I like literally eat like 2 bars a day. But the snacking ones are perfect for that because you can just kind of like microdose.
Yeah, you know, the other thing I do with little chocolate drops is I put them in yogurt because I always want ice cream after every dinner that I've ever had in my life. I want ice cream afterwards. So I try and
Yeah.
replace that with just a little bit of yogurt and chocolate drops. And I could have some infused chocolate drops. That would be bananas.
Yes, to use with whatever. And I think that that's like, I love the idea of people really just exploring the combination of chocolate and cannabis in whatever way they want on top of ice cream, if they want to melt it and dip strawberries in there, if they want to bake it, if they just want to snack with it.
This has given me ideas and inspiration. I know after this episode, I'm going to go and eat more chocolate, but now I'm thinking that like I want a pourable chocolate for on top of dessert, something that's infused like that. What would be your dream product that you could create?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Gosh, I feel like this was 10 years ago. This would have been what I told you is my dream chocolate because I love fillings. Like, I want chocolate, I want everything else with it.
Well, then you did it, girl.
I know. I can't think of anything at the moment, but I am working on some caramel. So there's some like caramels, like a Werther's chew in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love things with like chunky salt. And so that one's a salted caramel. We're doing a peanut butter bonbon with crispy quinoa. So I love the crunch in that.
Yes, I love crunchy chocolate.
But yeah, I mean, back in the day at Not Your Sugar Mamas, my old company, we made a chocolate sauce that wasn't like a profitable product, but we loved it so much because it was like one of the squirt raw chocolates. So those are my favorite because then you just get instant chocolate.
Yeah. Oh no, I know what's going to happen right now. I'm going to go out there and find like chocolate sauce and just drizzle it into my mouth.
Yeah, totally. Just straight shot.
Well, Kai, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Thank you for my candies. These are super delicious, and I really love the packaging. Very cool. You've probably seen it out there. It's sort of pink, blues, greens, very chunky, very funky. Byky, where are you guys available right now? Where can people buy you?
So we are all over the state, definitely at our solar locations. We have Somerset and Seekonk and soon to be open Dartmouth. We're in Northampton, Boston, all over the state. Be sure to check out our website. It's Edibles by Kai, or our Instagram, also Edibles by Kai, and we'll have a map and locator up there really soon so that you can just type in your zip code and find out what is the closest stocking store near you.
Awesome. And I will add the byky bonbon 2-packs would make really, really good stocking stuffers or like party favors. I actually took a few with me to give a friend over dinner, and it was just a really nice way to end our meal. And we didn't even know that we were doing, good for ourselves and the planet. So very cool. Thanks, Kai. A massive thanks to the founder of byky Edibles, Kyleen Keenan, and to Solar Cannabis Company. Next week, we'll be learning about the long and fascinating relationship between Jews and cannabis with our guest Eddie Portnoy from the New York City YIVO Institute.
There was an archaeological dig in a city called Tel Arad, which is near the Dead Sea, where they found an ancient synagogue, a 3rd century synagogue. And in this dig, they discovered 2 small altars that had on each one, on the top, the burned substance. So they took it for chemical analysis and carbon dating, and they discovered that both substances were from the 3rd century. And on one altar was the burned residue of frankincense, and on the other altar was the burned residue of cannabis.
Subscribe wherever you're listening right now so you don't miss next week. And follow us on social media at Different Leaf and at @different_leaf. And I'm on social media at Brit the British. Remember, head on over to differentleaf.com to order the new Fall Edibles issue mailed directly to you, or you can go to the Subscribe and Shop tab to find the nearest in-person retailer selling Different Leaf, the magazine. That's differentleaf.com.